Mark, only one place to start, one would think, and that comes from everybody, which I'm not sure what everybody means, but there you go.
A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. Says everybody here. Are there plans to improve Pompey's ticketing system after what happened with Ipswich and Bournemouth Cup games? Well, there's a good place to start.
Yeah, great place. I'll give a bit of a background to it first. I think that's important. When we come out of administration, we had a ticketing system called Ticketmaster, which most football clubs use, but I think there was quite a lot of controversy at the time, from what I gather, from people being charged booking fees and printing at home. You know, there was a lot of added extras in the cost of a ticket, which when you're in the Premiership, you know, and it's expensive for a ticket, and you're getting TV money, it's obviously not such a big issue. But when you're down into League Two and it's £20 a ticket and 15s and 10s and 5s and even, you know, £1 kid for a quid when we do the promotions, the cost per ticket can have a real big effect on your actual net profit for a fixture. So the board, myself, people involved at the time, you know, we took a keen interest in looking at the different ticketing systems. We chose a company called Audience View. That gave us one, you know, cut out a lot of the excess cost that was associated with Ticketmaster. It also gave us a lot of functionality in regards of it being a CRM system, the ability to send out emails directly from the ticketing system itself. So that's the good side of it. Now, for 2.5 years, we've never really had the perfect storm that we had over the last few weeks. We drew with Ipswich on the Saturday. We had 5 or 6 working days to then get everything ready to sell potentially 18,000 tickets for the following Saturday, for the Tuesday night game, which is unusual because normally we've got 11,500 just short season ticket holders now with the half season tickets, and so you're only ever really selling 6,000 or 7,000 at worst, which the ticketing system copes with quite comfortably. But we had the perfect storm of the Ipswich game, which was, as I say, the replay was on the Tuesday, I think 8 or 9 days following the Saturday of the draw. So we had a short space of time for that. We was also selling briskly for the Oxford tickets, which was a complete sellout. Then we obviously beat Ipswich and on the Tuesday, and then had another 8-9 day turnaround to sell a capacity again against Bournemouth. What it was, because the demand was so high, our season, well, I've just got the figures actually, we had 6,500 of our season ticket holders that had priority on the tickets that got locked out of the system. And not just now, historically, where they've gone in and they've tried to link their seat to buy in a ticket, and that caused a huge backlog, obviously, of people trying to get through, because then that put a strain on the phone system because people were panicking, couldn't get through and do it online, so they switched their attention to making a phone call. And with the best will in the world, we've got 15 lines coming in. And again, it's not like the Premiership years where we had a call centre at our disposal and we were quite happy to give away X% of the ticket revenue to a call centre, because we've tried to do it in-house to save money. And to a degree, that's worked very, very well over 2.5 years. It didn't work well over that 3-4 week period where we had the Ipswich, Bournemouth and Oxford game. You know, we've learnt lessons from it. We've learnt that should we end up in the playoffs this year, you know, this can't work for us. So we're looking at a new phone system now specifically for the ticketing office. And we're working with Audience View on making sure that all of our season ticket holders have got the right username and password, so that when they go in to actually buy their tickets in future, then they don't encounter all the issues that they've had this time. I mean, just to finish on that, the phone system is a sort of a separate issue in that we've got 15 lines coming into here, you know, to bring in another ISDN loop to add additional lines month on month is very expensive for the club, just for the fact that every 2.5-3 years maybe we have an issue that we had, you know, a week or two ago. So, but even there, it doesn't matter how many lines you've got coming in, staff is another issue at such short notice, because, as you know, Johnny, we got 3 full-time staff members dealing with the ticketing effectively now. And to call people in at such short notice, because most of them are at university or they've got other jobs or got to get carers for the kids or whatever, it's too short notice to get trained staff in to come in on the system. So we was all manning the phones in here, during that period internally, because we all know the system. But if you get another 15 lines and we got 30 lines coming in, then you still got to get the staff to man those lines as I say, at very short notice.
So to wrap it up, the club are totally aware of it and are looking to improve it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Right, different tack. You've spoken before about Sondico looking to sponsor the training ground. When will it happen and what will it bring, says Ellis on Twitter.
It's happened. The initial signage started to go up this week, so that's been done. And did you say how much?
When will it happen and what will it bring?
Financially, it brings another decent 5-figure windfall into the club.
Right, one from multiple fans here, who I think is a relation to everybody. What was the situation with Kylan Lavery? How come he was allowed to return to Sheffield Wednesday? And he returned to Sheffield Wednesday, but perhaps reluctantly on our side.
The thing with Kylan is Kylan's out of contract in the summer. We're always respectful whenever we get a loan player. The initial deal ran until this window because Sheffield Wednesday wanted to review the situation. Kylan wanted to review the situation. His agent wanted to review the situation. So it wasn't through lack of trying on our part to get Kylan in until the end of the season. But when we're sort of part of a love triangle as such, in that he's out of contract in the summer. Sheffield Wednesday are looking to protect their asset, which is fair enough, and Kylan and his agent are in discussions with that. So we are a little bit of a bystander to them discussions. And but if the situation changes, I'm sure if Paul at that time wants to bring him back, we'll continue to work hard in getting him back here.
Martin on Facebook says, can we have better staffing at the food drink kiosks? Only 2 people on duty at half time at each kiosk. Surely it will make sure that people are back in their seats for the second half if there's a better service.
I think most supporters are aware that in the summer we took the decision to outsource the kiosks. And in your role as support liaison officer, and people trust you, Johnny. You know as well as I do that the number of complaints we've had about the kiosk this year has dried up to a real trickle. I'm actually surprised at that question because most of the emails we get now are quite complimentary about how the kiosks are being run. Financially, we know the figures. It benefits us for them to take more money, and the figures have gone through the roof this year. Not just because we've had some big gates and some big games, unexpected windfalls as such. But on every match day, the price per head that people are spending has actually gone up. I think it's about 20-30%. So it's still obviously a work in motion with the kiosks. But when we first come out of administration, we had a survey done of where we could improve. Unfortunately, the survey pointed out to us that in modern day stadia, the square meterage we got for our kiosks would only cater for something in the region of 10,000-11,000 people, and we're getting 17,000-18,000 sometimes. So it's a difficult job. We know how difficult it was because we tried to do it ourselves for 2 years. But Centre Plate are renowned for their professionalism and what they do in regards of corporate hospitality and in the kiosks. And as I say, that it's dropped down really to a trickle complaints that we get, but you're always going to have issues. I think Ian McInnes on the Accrington the game that was cancelled for Accrington ended up going to watch Chelsea bizarrely, and he commented to me that they went out at Chelsea, left their seats at half time to go and buy a burger, coffee and whatever, and just couldn't get served. It was so that's at Chelsea. But I'll take it on board. I'll pass that on to Centre Plate if there was 2 people in there, and obviously they'll be able to give me the reasons why that was the case.
Okay, what can be done better to make crowds flow out of the stadium after games? Takes ages to get out now, thanks to the new Tesco, says Matthew on Facebook.
I don't think there's an easy answer to that, really. With one of the issues we had recently was we had a lot of supporters complaining about the cars exiting the North Stand at the same time the fans were trying to get out, and it was stopping the flow of people. So we've held back cars now, which is had complaints from people in the car park saying, why have you held us back for 10 minutes? But that's what I'm saying. You can never win. Unfortunately, a bit like the Kiosks situation, we're just governed by the actual square meterage of getting out the stadium and how many people can pass through effectively a funnel in that space of time. So I think we do the best we can, and unfortunately there's not really a lot more we can do until the time comes when hopefully the decision's made on whether we stay at Fratton or move, and if the decision's made at Fratton and the North Stand Milton end become a project for us, then how people get out of the stadium in the shortest space of time as possible will form part of that, obviously, project.
Right, there was a pitch invader at the Ipswich game, so what's been done? Will the club be handed a hefty fine, says Harry on Instagram.
Instagram or Instagram. It's always, a pitch invasion. I've gone in the press lately and it's becoming a bit of a pain for us as a club. The amount of work that goes into it once it's happened, and then subsequently the various bodies we have to report to of why it happened. I won't name a name, but we've got to be careful with this and not to overreact. Yeah, I think that's point number one, because I know someone that went to watch Millwall against Oxford in the week, was in the Millwall end supporting an ex-player, and was shocked that...
Jed Wallace is the only former player that plays there.
Someone from the club went to watch Jed Wallace, and went in with the Millwall fans and was absolutely shocked that they were ringed by stewards with dogs barking and said it was real intimidating, and the fans got treated like animals. So I don't ever want to see a situation where we go back to Fratton Park being ringed by stewards in an attempt to stop one rogue invader getting onto the pitch. Now, there's a couple of emails I've seen and replied to is people saying that the pitch invader got on, there was no attempt to stop him. Well, once he actually gets onto the pitch, there is now this general acceptance that they are not confronted. And the reason why they're not confronted, it could end in, you're giving them oxygen as such. They go on the pitch, it can turn violent. They have a fight with the steward. All of a sudden, they think they're a bigger hero than what they already think they are in their minds. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's all about avoiding confrontation. And as happened with that particular invasion, he ran round, well played the Fratton, the Fratton crowd. They booed him. He realised he wasn't, as popular as he thought he might be. And then in the end, he just handed himself over and was escorted out. And that's the common... So in that instance, that worked very well in the modern day thinking of not to confront a pitch invader. Like, when something happens like this, we have to come down it. We have to come down on it hard. We have to fill out reports to the FA. Some circumstances you have to go and appear at a hearing. We always try and defend the club. But the biggest defence as a club we can give is we are taking this seriously, and it will be dealt with in a proper manner.
Keep hearing this one every now and again. Hot water, Rob on Facebook asks, where are the North Stand upper toilets, hot water?
I'm going to look into this after the interview, because the North Stand toilet hot water should be functioning correctly. So I'll have a word with our stadium and maintenance manager after, and whoever sent that one in, if we've got a record of it, if you could let us know, we'll find out in what toilet. I know that there's one toilet still to complete. There's been a few issues with that one specifically, so it could possibly be that one, but I still thought it had hot water. If it hasn't, we'll look into that.
Back to the playing side. James on Instagram asks, what is the situation with Matt Tubbs?
I could only report the facts with Matty. He's got 18 months left on his contract. He's a Portsmouth Football Club player. I believe he is, if not there, almost back to full fitness after the injury he had. And then it just comes down to the opinion of the manager, whether he picks him or not.
Okay, on the opinion of the manager, Luke on Facebook, and I would think he echoes a fair few here. Should we fail to achieve promotion, firstly, I would like Paul Cook kept. But secondly, how will that impact the club financially?
There's two separate questions here. Obviously, it's a decision for the board, always in regards of the manager. But I don't even think it's something we should be discussing at this minute in time. I've got to say, I honestly do not believe there's any better manager out there. With the greatest respect to the other managers in League One, League Two, I can't get my head around anyone being better than him. And He's come in, he's completely changed. He's only been here 6-7 months. He's completely changed the team, the squad. And you speak to anyone, people say you need 3-4 transfer windows to find out the true caliber of your manager. And I think that's the case with Paul. It's an evolving process. I think football's unbelievably attractive, especially for this level. I mean, I think it would grace the Championship and the Premiership a lot of the time, but at this level it's unique. He's got a brand of football. He was brought in by the board, by the chairman, specifically for this brand of football. So in regards of that, I think that one's a bit of a red herring at the minute. I shouldn't even be discussing it. But in regards of the cost, if we don't go up, obviously we prepare budgets for different scenarios. Ironically, financially, there's no big jump for us to get into League One. I'm being honest here. Because of there's salaries of players goes up a certain amount. There's certain bonuses and financially, what you get income in via the Football League and extra commercial revenue from League Two to League One is sort of balanced out by the jump in the salaries and bonuses and the running costs of actually being in League One. So it's not a huge financial difference for us, if I'm being honest. Although no one wants to stay in League Two. Obviously, we want to get into League One. But if people are, I want people to become a little bit assured that should we not go up this year, then it has no massive financial impact to us being in League Two, other than potentially the non-renewal of season ticket holders and people maybe them in what will be the fourth year in the bottom tier, sort of switching off and not continuing to support the club.
Let's end on the family. The family section seems at best to be half full for league games. Any way you could make one side family, the other side of the tunnel, all fans, Andrew says on Facebook.
I think that's come to the fore. We've had some discussions in the last few games because we've had potential sellouts, and yet we haven't been sold out because of spare capacity in the family section, where you have to be accompanied, obviously, by a child to gain access. So I think I'll start talking to the trust on that one. It's something that I know a couple of the directors there are keen to get involved in and make the family experience on a match day in that family section a lot better. But primarily in that, it might be a case of condensing it, making the experience better in that condensed area. Because, as you say, if we have a great run in this year and hopefully if we do get promoted in League One or we're near the top end of League Two next year, then the demand for spaces in Fratton Park is going to be immense, and we can't have it where we've got maybe 200-300 empty seats in an area that is not hitting capacity.
I mean, it's important to make a comparison here between something like Morecambe, where less the Pompey fans, the crowd would have been under 1,000 on Tuesday night. So it's a nice problem to have in a way. It's
a fantastic problem, and as I say, there was obviously the frustration after Tuesday, and I've seen some of the hysteria on Facebook as a result of it. And listen, I went up there that day and I come home and got home about 4:30, and I said to you, I've been on sort of suicide watch for 24 hours really. It really hurt. It hurt Paul, it hurt the team, it hurt the fans, it hurts everyone. But in football you got to quickly get back on that horse and start riding forward again. And I'm sure that everyone will be doing that for Saturday.